To raise a crop requires many things. The knowledge of what will grow to help your family make a living. The patience to endure the cyclical shift of seasons. The persistence to work hard to put in a crop, nurture it, and harvest it. Good land that will produce green fields. And most important in the Arkansas Valley, water, the right amount at the right time. For 60 years, the Frying Pan Arkansas Project has been a bridge between the rich agricultural heritage that has been the backbone of the Arkansas Valley economy since the mid-1800s and the abrupt increase in population. While more than half of the Trans Mountain water from the project is designated for municipal and industrial use, Arkansas Valley irrigators have gotten more than their share in the 50 years project water has been available. Along with the annual imports, the project has made it possible to store water during the winter months, so it can be used at the opportune time. There are those who still remember farming in the Arkansas Valley prior to the Fry-Ark project.
Well, at Wesley, we moved out here to Colorado in 1956 from Oklahoma, and pretty much grew up around Los Animas and went to work for a farmer when I was 14 years old there. But the farmer's name was Elvin Spady. He was a pretty well-known individual on the Fort Line Canal at that time, the director. So, and then in 1972, I went to work in the Horse Creek area. Had a farmer there that needed some help, so that's actually how I got started farming. Was he took me on as a partner. I furnished all the labor and had put up half the money, and that's how I ended up beginning my farm career there in the Arkansas Valley. Bought a farm in 1980.
Yep, the grandparents came here. First newspaper article we got about great Uncle Vile was in 1889, and we've been here ever since, and farmed all our lives and out in the Cheraw-Holbrook community. And my dad passed away a year ago, and he was 96, and he died about 10 foot from where he was born. So that's where we're at.
I started superintendent in 2002. I've been around the Amity Canal basically all my life. My dad was superintendent from 59 to 79, Bill Hollander. And I've had, I guess you could say, a lot of experience in that area with the canal my whole life. It's been good. It's been a learning experience on a lot of it, and there's a lot of things that went up and down that pretty viable for the community with the systems to all of this irrigation to make everything work for the people.
I'm a fifth-generation farmer and rancher in the northern part of Crowley County. Water has always been a part of my background. It is one of the biggest reasons I became a water resource engineer to support my passion.
The Frying Pan Arkansas project began delivering water in the early 1970s. By the mid-1970s, the winter water program began, allowing farmers to store water in Pueblo Reservoir during the winter months when irrigation often was counterproductive. Both of these programs improved the outlook for farmers.
And then I think in 1972 was the first year they put water behind Pueblo Reservoir. And then we had a better supply in the summer because we'd store behind that, and then the district would also have their project water that we could use and run along with our Fort Line Canal storage water and increase the amount of water we got. And it also changed in previous years. Before 72, pretty much the whole crop grown in Arkansas Valley, except for a few people that had wells, was milo. The ones that had wells grew corn, essentially, where they had a better water supply. But everything east of La Junta, when I grew up, was milo fields. It essentially added maybe, I'd say, probably 50% more water during the growing season that would be available to grow your crops.
Project water changed farming for the better in the Arkansas Valley, especially in the early years of the Frying Pan Arkansas project before municipalities began taking their share. It also changed the way farmers choose and grow their crops.
We used to get 20,000 acre foot fairly often, and now we get 4,000 or 5,000 acre foot because the municipalities are taking their share. We used to run municipal share, but don't get to do that anymore. So,
well, generally it depends on the years. If we have a high snow year, we have moisture in the spring to plant our crops, and then we could call for the project water and other water later in the year to finish the crop or keep it growing. But then some years it's just the opposite. Some years you need to call your water early because you have dry conditions all winter, which seems to be more prevalent here lately than it was in the past.
With the prior appropriation system that the Arkansas Basin water rights are on, it's take it or leave it. So if you are in priority, you get to use that water. When you're not in priority, you don't get to use any of that water. The crops do suffer from that because there is no bridge to feed that crop what it needs. So with stored water, like winter water or project water, it gives the opportunity for farmers to bridge the use of water in their native water to finish out a crop or start a crop or keep a crop growing in its critical stages.
The Winter Water Program has had a big impact on the nature of irrigated agriculture in the valley.
It allows the farmers and the canal companies to get their canals ready for the coming year. The farmers can get ready for what they need to do. The winter program, then, by the spring of the year, gives them an idea how much water that's available and what they can start planning on, what they want to try to grow. It's very vital that the program, I think it's a good deal.
Well, I think one of the good points of winter water, and it was our alfalfa crops seemed to do better because we pretty much irrigated our hay fields all winter long. Ice would build up on them, and sometimes they turned into skating rinks, and kids would skate out there on the fields, ice skate. And then, but the hard part of it is it'd freeze up. You'd have to go out and chop holes that we used dirt ditches, at that time. We used dirt ditches to irrigate out of. So when it'd freeze up, the ditch banks would freeze up. To get the water to change, you'd move the dam forward because you had to bring lots of dams. Because the previous dam you just put in got froze in, so you just move up the ditch and chop some holes in the side of the banks and all, and then run the water out that way.
We're a junior ditch, so it was better by winter irrigating. The alfalfa would get 2 to 3 cuttings with winter water, but it was day and night with scoop shovels and dynamite and getting the ice flows going, and all the new technology with gated pipe and pivots doesn't allow for winter irrigation. So it's changed, made it better, easier, but there's pluses and minuses to it all, but mostly for the better.
The Winter Water Program differs from FryArk. The FryArk is a trans-mountain diversion that we get to bring into this basin. The Winter Water Storage Program was the winter water portion of their native right that we went to court and allowed them to store that water instead of having to apply it through the winter months. It has made that water more productive and has made that water beneficial to the crops because timing in place is everything. So this allowed them to take a difficult irrigating time in their irrigation season and moving it to a more beneficial time frame.
The Frying Pan Arkansas project has led to new innovations, such as a trial program that would allow irrigators to carry over water in storage from one year to the next.
So allowing agriculture to store water in a carryover situation like municipal, one takes storage. So when these drier years, we have the available storage because those reservoir levels are dropping down. But we also have drought conditions, high transit losses, so on and so forth, that if we just force them to use it, it's not a very efficient use of project water, especially when we're on the cusp of drought on the eastern slope and western slope. So allowing farmers to use that water in a more ideal time and a more efficient time, an effective time for their crops, makes the water we have, this limited resource that is getting smaller and smaller, go further.
and the Frying Pan Arkansas project will play a role in the future of the Arkansas Valley as water use continues to shift from irrigation to municipal and industrial uses.
It's tough to see. I'm on the Super Ditch Board of Directors, and I believe in that way ahead of buy and dry. And there's good about some of it. We've got an excess capacity contract with Aurora for storing in Holbrook Reservoir, and it's helped our farmers with money and water, and it's been a win-win for both of us. So there's good and bad again. I'd like to keep the buy and dry out of the valley, but we know water is going to go to municipal. So if we can figure out how to do that without getting it legislated away, better off we'll be. I have no idea what the crystal ball is going to hold. Yet I know more and more water is going to go away, but agriculture is still going to have to be a part of it somehow.
Agriculture has a chance to survive despite municipal and industrial forays into the valley. So far, this has occurred because of innovative ideas interwoven with the transfer of water rights. The project is a bridge to balance competing needs for water in the Arkansas Valley.
Tri-State, came in with the intention to put in a power plant, which that did not happen. They did their engineering to do everything that they would need to do. The project wouldn't have started till 2020, to my understanding, but Tri-State has been a good stockholder in the Amity Canal. They wanted to keep the farming going just as it always was. They had some ground that they was going to dry up for the project on the power plant that wasn't as productive.
The interaction between municipal and agricultural uses is going to be bridged through efficiency and finding the balance on when that water is necessary to be moved and when it needs to stay on the land to produce crops. The Frying Pan Arkansas project has always been a shepherd on trying to balance both uses and keep them in the places that they are necessarily kept. To help bridge that, storage is going to be huge, and the Frying Pan Arkansas project offers the largest storage in the basin. So the volatility of water rights, whether it's in municipal agricultural use, are balanced out through storage. So when you have dry times and wet times, you have to have a place to store that water in wet times and a place to use that water in dry times. Being able to store the water helps make the water supply that we have go further, both in agriculture and municipal.
The Frying Pan Arkansas project has spanned the last 60 years, easing the growing pains of the Arkansas Valley. Its role remains vital and will become increasingly important in the years to come.